X-Men. Dark Phoenix, Magneto will be ruler of the island nation of Genosha and will run into Jean Grey. It's gradually becoming clear that next year's X-Men, Dark Phoenix will be very different to the comic book story. One of the major differences is clearly the fact that Michael Fassbender is reprising the role of Magneto in the film. The character wasn't part of the original comic book storyline, and fans have been excitedly speculating as to just what role the Master of Magnetism will play. Now, we have some idea of how Magneto will fit in and how it relates to a comic location fans will recognize. Latest print issue of EU has finally given us some solid information. The publication reports a confused Jean will turn to Eric Lenzer aka Magneto, who now lives on an island named Genosha. Fassbender said of Magneto's role in the film, "He's set up this place for mutants that don't have a home to go to. They have to work as a community. But it's a safe place for them and they'll be accepted." Over in the comics, Genosha was a troubled nation. Chris Claremont created the fictional country as a metaphor on apartheid. In Genosha, mutants were slaves, viewed as a resource that should be used by the state. Needless to say, the X-Men brought the Genoshan government down. It set up a long-running arc that lasted more than a decade, in which mutants and humans vied for control of the nation. Ultimately, in the 2000s Magneto himself took charge. Having revealed his power to the world, he demanded that he be given rule of the island, and swiftly established a mutant nation. The news matches with rumors that we first heard back in July. There were reports that Magneto established a quasi-religious mutant cult on the island. He views himself as a mutant savior, and he's established a community centered around his benevolent power. It's a take that seems heavily inspired by 2009's Wolverine and the X-Men animated series. Little by little, Magneto's role is becoming clear. Back in October, it was reported that Fox filmed scenes in a set based on the United Nations headquarters in New York with Magneto. We can assume he's there as ruler of the sovereign mutant nation. Whatever the reason, he's met by members of the X-Men, including Professor Xavier, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. It was additionally reported that the scene soon turned into an action sequence, with Skrulls attacking in force. Now we know Jean turns to Magneto for help, disturbed at her increasing power levels, and no doubt confused by the alien invaders. She's taken to Genosha. That may not be a wise course of action for the Master of Magnetism. In the comics, his reign on Genosha came to an end when the Sentinels slaughtered the island's population. Is it possible that, this time, Genosha will be sterilized by Phoenix Fire? X-Men, Dark Phoenix is gradually taking shape. We have a cosmic threat like nothing we've seen on Earth to date. Now we have Magneto as a would-be cult leader who foolishly takes the Phoenix home. Meanwhile, alien shapeshifters are hunting Jean down, no doubt fearing the Phoenix's power. Magneto may not know it, but his island nation has become a powder keg. All it needs is a spark to light the match, and he's dealing with a Firebird. Source: